hey there everyone, Kay here on my homestead in Tennessee. This side garden has been completely ignored for at least a month. During which time, well, we started with drought, right? Well, it's been mostly drought. And I just looked over there and I'm stunned to see that there are 4 inches of rain in the rain gauge. Now, I think that's only a couple of events because I know Randy dumped it out, but I don't know exactly when. You know, I don't keep good records. I need a record keeper. Okay, wind, stop. Now stop it. I've got a lot to say and you need to stop it. Just give me 15 minutes, okay? 15 minutes. Anyway, I have been meaning to talk about the difference in the squash major categories. There's cucurbita pepo, and that is typically your summer squashes, like your yellow squash and all of that. And then there is cucurbita muscata, which is the main one is your butternut, also tromboncino. I grew both of those this year. I bought fresh seeds of tromboncino, and the butternut, I reused my seeds. Now, I was just doing a little research online, and if you want your varieties to stay true to form, you have to hand pollinate the flowers. And of course, I did not do that. So, if I want true tromboncino, I'm sure I still have from the seed packet for next year. I can do that again and take my chances with the butternut. And then there's cucurbita maxima, and that is like your kabocha. Since we had all that drought, and we had, oh my goodness, the weeds. It's crazy. The goosegrass is absolutely crazy. And I'm also thinking I'm going to have to put down a silage tarp in here and kill all this weed seed before next year. I just can't get over it. I did put down some weed cloth here, but where I didn't, it just took absolutely took over. I was thinking, whatever has set, and I'm not going to get any more winter squash. But now I see flowers and fresh leaves. So the question is, how long do you keep this thing going? You know, I'm ready for it to be over. I've got so many other things to concern myself with. I was just saying in the last video, I wanted to get a mulcher and mulch all of these corn stalks. I usually give them to my neighbor for his cows, but these are so dried up now. I think just mulch them and put them right back down into the soil, and that's would be the way to go. But we're going to venture in there. You know what? I probably should go get my boots, but let's just do it. Let's go see what's in there. And I also wanted to just say that the reason that muscata is so much more resistant to the squash vine borer, if you've had horrible problems with that, like with summer squash, they just take over. And that's what I used this year. I tried the mothballs in gallon jugs in a little water with vents, and that definitely cut down the numbers. It didn't get totally rid of them, but my summer squash just gets decimated. It's just gone before you know it. But the winter squash, the muscata, is more resistant to squash vine borer because the stem is denser. You know, the summer squash it's almost open inside, and so the squash vine borers, it's just like their own private freeway, you know. But that can't happen with the muscata squash. So I grew this banana squash. I got an original heirloom from the National Heirloom Expo. The seeds were given to me by a friend before I left my old garden. I grew them here, I think it was in 22, and I had banana squash I was holding them like this. I think what happened is they get pollinated, and then the variety gets all kind of mixed up and you don't know what you've got. And then year before last, I had these massive 65 pounds, I think, of winter squash in here. It was crazy, and it was from this variety that got mixed up between the butternut and the cucurbita maxima. And I believe the banana squashes are in that category. So let's go in and see what's cooking in there. Ooh, the sun's coming out. Fantastic. Okay, right off the bat, I see a couple of small butternuts. And like I said, I didn't water during the drought, and I just said, I'm just going to take what I can get. When you harvest, you want to make sure that actually, that could have waited a little bit longer. You want to make sure that the stem is kind of dried up and dead, so it's gotten all of its nutrients. But, you know, here we are. 1 week of October is gone, and we need to get going with this. And yes, it's still green, so I hope that's not going to affect the storage life too much. The ones I already harvested the vines were dead. Let's see. All of this horrible grass weed is goose grass. Let's see what we got here. You know, I mean, maybe I should wait. That one is not dead, so I think I better wait. You know, it's still green. I guess this recent rain. Yeah, I can't cut that. Okay. Let's only cut. But look at all those green leaves. Crazy. And new flowers. So we're only going to... Oh, here we go. This is the monster squash that was developed here. Now this one was the first big one to develop, so I have to believe... What? What? The vine is not dead on that one? You've got to be kidding me. Look at the size of that thing. Just put my shoe here so you can see the size. Oh my goodness, but that vine is not dead. We're not cutting it. We're waiting. This one is, this tiny little puppy here. This is like a baby butternut that's dead. Let's take that. Here's a pretty one. We'll take that one. Ooh. Yep. Yeah, that's what you want. You want this to be more dead before you cut it. There's plantain growing right there. Okay, that 4. I thought for sure I'd be taking that one because it's been there the longest. Now, I also grew red curry squash, and curry squash is a type of kabocha, and that is the maxima. So they're not as disease resistant. I mean, they're not as resistant to the squash vine borer as the muscata, but better than pepo. So I have already harvested 2 little ones, and I don't expect there to be any more because that was growing. The leaves are very different on these varieties too, so you will be able to see. But I got the curry from over here, and that was a while ago. So let's see if this one's dead. Oh yeah, it's hardly even attached. So you never know with something like this. It's still kind of green. It's small. If I had watered these back during the drought, they would obviously be much bigger. But you know what? I've already got plenty for myself. Look, look, look. So that is going to be a very long time before that's ready. And you know what? That's my creations, I guess you'd say. The muscata can have a crook neck, by the way, just like the pepo can have a crook neck, like crook neck squash. That's gonna have to wait. You see, fresh leaves out there. It's crazy. They're going, hey, we're gonna keep growing until you call a halt. And halt will be the first frost. Look, there's 2 little baby butternuts right there. They're so cute. Look at that. Oh. Yes or no? I say no. I say we have to wait on that one. The stem is still a little green because all this is dead. I think I'm going to take this one. It's going to drop because I only have one hand. But it's nice and hard, so. Actually, that little stem is not green. I mean, it's not brown. It's green. Of course, these are still good. You can just go ahead and cook them, but okay, now this is where I grew tromboncino in these 3 spaces. And I only got 2, one of which started growing on the soil and when it was raining a lot and got rotten on the soil. And I just think there was too much growing back here, too much pressure. If you can believe, I got beans growing. Look at these beans. This is first week in October, and I got, these beans are flowering. So, but because there hasn't been any rain, these pods are flat. I need to come along and check on the beans and the, oh my word, look at these peppers. I have so many orange Thai peppers that I gave up. I actually don't know for sure if this is orange Thai. It looks so much like my orange Thai that I have to believe it is, but maybe it's a little different. Maybe it's a little different. I should do a taste test. Okay, but look at those beans. Absolutely incredible. These are the red calico limas. And look, absolutely loaded with flowers. This is lamb's quarters. Wait. No, this is that bad weed. This is that bad weed. Oh my goodness, the seeds are gonna be all over. Yeah, I'm thinking more and more, I'm thinking that we're gonna have to just do a silage tarp on this whole area. But look, these fresh flowers. These fresh squash flowers. It's incredible. And look at all of these peppers. My word. I gotta come and harvest these. You know what? I should just cut the plants down, take what I can get, and clean this place up. But look, the summer garden wants to keep growing. Incredible. These red calicos come out by the handfuls too. Maybe with this rain, we can get some. And look, this is the Italian early riser, Lou's Italian early riser heirloom bean, and all of those I'm saving for seed. I had a bunch in a tray in the house, and I think I might have mixed up some rattlesnake pole beans in it. So those I know for sure haven't crossed. So those will be my seeds saved for next year. Now look, this is a butternut, but it looks very much like the big one. But you know what? The vine is still green. Can you see it? So we're gonna have to wait. It might get bigger. All right, let's go around the corner. See what, oh, this is some more of that horrible weed. Actually, I saw a video that said that this weed was actually good, that some animals really benefit from eating it. And I'm going, okay, well, I don't have any of those animals. And all I know is it's seeds in your... Wow, do I not have any more of the big ones? That's crazy. Huh. The red curry was planted in here somewhere. It fizzled out early. It does not have the resistance to the squash vine borer. That is crazy. Are you telling me I only have one of my massive, after all these vines? I only have one massive one. Okay. I have one very large butternut. I thought for sure there'd be another one down in here. These are the leaves, which look very different from... And look, look. It's growing through the corn. But hey, look, fresh vines here. You guys, you know it's going to be frost in like 2 weeks, right? 3 weeks? You better get with the program here. If you go back and watch that video, I had about 10 of those. All right, that's okay. Now this one obviously will not have time to finish and have a brown stem, but it's still edible. I just won't be able to cure it. Wait, I just saw a tiny little... Where'd it go? Look at this tiny little thing. This was almost like a false start. It's not even a serving. My last lemon cucumber. Oh well. And these beans did nothing. No, I will never... This was an heirloom bean, and I never saw a single bean. Wait. There's some seeds in there. But you know, it's just not worth growing if it's not prolific. Okay. Okay, I forgot one thing. Walked right by it. This is a nice one. The vine, well, the leaves are already dead. I'm not sure if the vine is. I don't think it is. But that's going to be a little while. I'm so glad I put down this weed cloth. Can you imagine if I hadn't done this much at least? I just wish I had covered the whole thing. Okay, I've got to come harvest those peppers. Hi, pretty. Hi. Hi. Are you watching? Oh, you're such a good girl. You're such a good girl. I'll be in a minute, okay? Okay. Oh, I got about 10 or 12 pounds of butternuts here. And we've assessed what all needs to be done over there, which is a lot before first frost. A lot has to be done. And of course, I will have to have help for that. But just to clarify, it's Cucurbita muscata, and Cucurbita maxima, and Cucurbita pepo. Anyway, Cucurbita muscata and Cucurbita maxima are two distinct species of winter squash, differing in appearance, a flavor, a growth characteristics, and culinary uses. Cucurbita muscata, commonly known as butternut squash, that's the main one, you know. This species is generally more heat tolerant and exhibits stronger resistance to pests and diseases. We love that, right? Particularly the squash vine borer, making it easier to grow in hot, humid climates, which we have here. In contrast, Cucurbita maxima includes a wide range of large, often blocky or round squash varieties. C. maxima varieties are generally more susceptible to pests like squash vine borers and cucumber beetles, and are considered harder to grow, especially in areas with high insect pressure, which we have here. And guess what? I only got 2 red curry. They also tend to have a longer storage life, with some varieties like Hubbard squash capable of storing up to a year. Wow. While both species are winter squashes with thick skins and long storage potential, C. muscata is often noted for its slightly moister flesh compared to the denser flesh of C. maxima. Additionally, C. maxima varieties are typically larger and can weigh hundreds of pounds, including giant pumpkins grown for competitions. My question was, why does muscata squash resist the squash vine borer? And it's primarily due to its physical stem characteristics. The vines of muscata are described as thinner and harder compared to other squash species, making it difficult for the larva to bore into and tunnel through the stems. Like I said, it's their freeway. It's their protected freeway. This structural resistance prevents the larva from establishing within the plant, and in some cases, larvae that do attempt to attack are unable to survive or are starved due to the dense vine structure. The tough, narrow stems of Cucurbita muscata are less suitable for the vine borer's feeding and development compared to the softer stems of the Cucurbita pepo and Cucurbita maxima, which are more susceptible. So now you know. I couldn't have remembered all that and said it as distinctly, succinctly. So forgive me for relying on AI for that summary, but you need to know, before you grow, what is your pressure from squash vine borer? We have terrible squash vine bugs here, and so I'm going to be more successful, as you can see. I mean, I've already harvested the cushaw. That does not store long at all. In fact, I already had to cook one. These butternuts are going to be fine February, March, April. The year I had the biggest bonanza of winter squash, what lasted the longest was the butternut. So that's the muscata. Muscata! You want to grow muscata? Save yourself a little trouble and grow Cucurbita muscata. I hope that's helpful. God bless you. I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe if you haven't. You know you need to. And I'll see you in the next video.